Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are wrestling with a feeling that I think is painfully familiar to, well, almost everyone. It's a specific type of exhaustion.
And it's not the kind where you just need a nap.
No, not at all. You haven't just run a marathon or stayed up too late. It's deeper.
It's that spiritual wall you hit.
Exactly. You know the drill. You're trying to be a good person or a devout Christian. You're trying to be patient, kind, disciplined, less angry.
More generous, yeah.
And it feels like you're pushing this massive boulder up a hill day after day. You're straining, and the moment you relax,
It rolls right back down and just crushes you.
Precisely. It's the burnout of trying to be good. And the source material we're covering today uses this terrifyingly visceral image to describe it. It calls believers who feel this way walking tombs.
Walking tombs. That's quite a visual, isn't it?
It's grim, but it's so real. It's this idea of carrying a dead spirituality inside while you're desperately trying to put a smile on it and make it look alive.
And that is exactly what we're unpacking today. We're doing a deep dive into the teachings of Watchman Nee, specifically his classic work, The Normal Christian Life.
Right. And for a little context, Nee was a church leader in China in the early 20th century, and his take on all of this is, well, it's not your typical self-help book.
Not at all.
No. And I have to say, when I first went through this, I got a bit defensive because the normal story we're told is self-improvement. I need to be a better version of myself.
Right. I need to work on my anger. I need to develop more patience.
But Nee comes along and says that entire framework, that whole I need to get better mindset, is a trap.
He does. He argues that God's goal for you isn't improvement.
So what is it?
It's replacement.
Replacement. See, that sounds terminal. Like God wants to erase me.
And in a way, that's exactly what the source argues. God isn't trying to patch up your old life. He's trying to replace it entirely with a new one.
So our mission today is to figure out why Nee believes our biggest problem isn't our weakness, but our strength. And why giving up might be the only way to win.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so the source starts by diagnosing this crisis of the church. And honestly, it sounds like a diagnosis of modern life. It describes people who are just worn out.
It's that cycle of more. You feel empty, so you think the logical response is to do more.
Right. If I'm not feeling close to God, I must not be reading enough or praying enough or volunteering for the parking committee enough.
So you double down. You grit your teeth.
And what happens? You just end up feeling even emptier. It's like you're drinking salt water to quench your thirst.
This is where Nee makes a really critical distinction. He talks about natural resources versus divine life.
Okay, let's break that down. What's a natural resource?
It's anything that comes from you. Your willpower, your intellect, your charisma, your talent, even your natural kindness.
So I can, white-knuckle my way through a traffic jam without yelling. That's willpower. That's me.
Exactly. But Nee says that's just using a dead battery to try and start a car. You might get a spark, but it won't actually run the engine.
So trying to produce spiritual fruit with my natural strength is like trying to make a corpse act alive.
Which brings us right back to the walking tomb. You can prop the body up, put makeup on it, make it look like it's doing something.
But there's no life in it.
And here's the kicker, the really counterintuitive part. Nee says the problem isn't that these exhausted people are too weak.
What?
It's that they're too strong.
Too strong? That feels completely backwards. I always think I fail because I'm not strong enough.
But think about it. If you're strong, if you have a lot of willpower and discipline, you rely on it. You lean on your own ability to handle things.
And there's no room for anything else.
No room for the Spirit. You're blocking God with your own competence.
Wow. So the person who's naturally patient might actually be in a worse spot spiritually than the person with a short temper.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Because the chill guy thinks, I've got this. He's self-sufficient. And in Nee's theology, self-sufficiency is the ultimate enemy.
This reminds me of that passage in Romans 7 the source brings up, the whole wretched man that I am moment.
Yes, Paul's crisis. The good that I want to do, I do not do. The evil I don't want to do that I keep doing.
It's the human condition. I know I shouldn't eat the donut. I eat the donut.
And we see that failure as the problem. We think, man, I failed. I need to try harder.
But the source flips that. It says that failure is actually a friend.
A necessary friend. Because that moment of total defeat where you realize, I cannot do this on my own, that is the only place where spiritual life can begin.
You have to hit rock bottom.
You have to reach spiritual bankruptcy. As long as you think you have a few dollars left in your own account, you won't fully rely on God.
Okay, so let's say I'm there. I'm bankrupt. I'm tired of trying to fix myself. If the plan isn't self-improvement, what is it?
This is the pivot point, the core concept. It's substitution,
Substitution. Okay,
not imitation.
right. The source points to Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me.
No longer I who live. There's that replace me idea again. Exactly. Most of us practice imitation. We look at Jesus and say, okay, he was forgiving. I'm going to try really hard to be like him.
Which puts the burden right back on me. I'm doing the work.
And you'll fail. Substitution is different. It's saying, Lord, I cannot forgive this person. My forgiveness tank is empty. You forgive them through me.
The source used a checking account analogy for this that I found really helpful.
Yes, the itemization error.
Right.
We think of virtues as items. We pray, Lord, I'm low on patience. Can you deposit some in my account?
Right. Here's 10 units of patience. Try not to use it all before noon.
Exactly. But Nee says God doesn't give out virtues like that. He doesn't dispense patience or wisdom as separate things.
So what does he give?
He gives Christ. The verse says Christ is our wisdom, our righteousness.
Okay, pause on that. That sounds a little abstract. How is that practical? If I'm about to lose my temper, knowing Christ is my patience sounds nice. But I still feel like yelling.
It changes the prayer. Instead of, Lord, help me be patient, which is just asking for a boost to your own effort,
You pray something different.
you pray, Lord, I have no patience. I am bankrupt. You be my patience right now. I'm stepping back.
It's handing over the keys, getting out of the driver's seat.
It's an exchange of personhood. You aren't acquiring equality. You're relying on a person.
And here's the tricky part. We like being in the driver's seat. We complain about it, but we don't really want to give up the wheel.
And that is why the next part of this is so crucial and, frankly, so painful. It's called the process of brokenness.
Yeah, this is where the source gets into the outer man and the inner man. What does that mean exactly?
The outer man isn't just your body. It's your soul, your personality, your mind, your emotions, your self-will. It's the you that you present to the world. The inner man is the spirit where Christ dwells.
Okay, so I have Christ inside me, but he's wrapped in this shell of my personality.
Right. And for many of us, that shell, that outer man, is very hard, very intact. We're confident, capable, we have strong opinions.
We're full of ourselves.
Literally. And because that shell is so hard, the life of Christ, the inner man, is trapped. It can't get out.
The source used the grain of wheat analogy.
John 12:24. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. As long as the husk is intact, the life inside is contained. It's sterile.
It has to break to grow.
The husk has to crack open for the life to be released. And Nee argues God is obsessed with breaking that outer shell, our self-reliance, our pride.
This totally reframes how you look at suffering or failure.
Completely. We see a lost job or a broken relationship as things going wrong and think, why aren't you blessing me?
Why aren't you protecting my shell? I polished it so nicely.
Exactly. But Nee suggests these aren't accidents. They're divinely appointed tools to crack your self-sufficiency. He needs the shell to break so he can get out.
The source brought up Joseph from the Old Testament. I've heard that story a million times, but this take focused on the prison years.
It's a fascinating take. Joseph had these big dreams of power as a teenager, right? He knew he was special.
Really a bit arrogant, maybe.
Definitely. Now, imagine if God had put that 17-year-old Joseph in charge of Egypt right away.
It would have been a disaster. An arrogant, talented tyrant.
So what happened? Betrayal, slavery, false accusation, prison, years of it.
His life was falling apart.
But Nee argues that was the breaking of his outer man. God was dismantling Joseph's confidence in Joseph. By the time he gets out, he's a different person. Humble, dependent.
So the bad stuff wasn't a punishment, it was preparation.
It was the necessary crushing of the husk.
That is a hard pill to swallow. I mean, nobody wants to be crushed. The source calls this resistance the 90-10 problem.
This is the compromise we all try to make. Okay, God, you could have 90%.
But I'm keeping this 10%. I'm keeping control of my career or my right to be right in an argument.
We want the resurrection, but we want to skip the crucifixion.
Lord, break me, but maybe make it look like a promotion.
Exactly. But the cross knows no compromise. You can't partially die. That 10% you keep is the 10% that blocks the flow.
Okay, so let's land the plane on the how. This can get very abstract. How does someone actually do this on a Tuesday morning when the coffee spills?
The source gives us a specific action verb from Romans 6.11. The word is reckon.
Reckon. Sounds like something a cowboy would say.
It does, but the Greek word is an accounting term. It means to count something as a fact, to book it in the ledger.
So it's math, not magic.
Right. And reckoning is not pretending. It's not trying to trick your brain into believing something.
It's not looking in the mirror and chanting, I am dead to sin, I am dead to sin.
No, that's just more self-effort. Reckoning is acknowledging a completed reality. The source says that when Christ died, your old self died with him. That's a historical fact. Reckoning is simply agreeing with God about it.
So it's like, imagine you're a pauper, but a distant relative left you $10 million in a bank account.
It's a fact. It's in your name.
But I'm still acting like a pauper because I haven't reckoned it to be true. Believing in the money doesn't make it real.
It was already real. Believing just lets you spend it. And Nee says our death to sin and new life in Christ is a deposited fact. Reckoning is just pulling out the checkbook.
So it's shifting my focus from my fluctuating feelings to that fixed fact.
Yes. And when you stop struggling and start reckoning, you move into the imagery of the vine and the branch.
Right from John 15, the normal Christian life.
Think about a branch on a grapevine. Does the branch struggle and grunt to pop out a grape?
No, that would be a very weird vine.
The branch just abides. It stays connected. And the sap flows from the vine through the branch, and the fruit just happens.
So the branch doesn't produce the fruit, it bears the fruit. The vine does the work.
That's the whole shift. When this clicks, your whole life changes. Prayer stops being a panic button or a shopping list.
God, give me this. God, fix that.
It becomes fellowship. And service stops being a heavy obligation and becomes an overflow. You help people because the life inside you just spills out.
Which brings us to the paradox of rest. Matthew 11 says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
Which is confusing, right? We just talked about dying daily and being broken. That sounds heavy.
How can a cross be light?
It's light because you aren't the one carrying the weight of being good anymore. The yoke connects you to Christ. If he's doing the living, he's doing the heavy lifting.
So the exhaustion we started with comes from me trying to carry a burden I was never designed for.
Exactly. You're trying to be the vine. You're just a branch. Stop trying to make grapes and just hold on.
I think we're moving from the exhaustion of trying to be a better me to the relief of letting Christ be himself.
That's the journey. And there was one quote in the source material that just stopped me in my tracks. It said, God is satisfied with his son. He will never be satisfied with you.
Oof, the lens heavy. My first reaction is, well, thanks a lot. I'm never good enough.
It sounds like an insult to the ego. But if you sit with it, it's actually the greatest news in the world.
How so?
Because it releases you. God isn't waiting for you to get your act together. He's already satisfied with Jesus.
Yeah.
And because you are in Jesus, you're accepted.
So I don't have to polish my outer man to make it presentable.
No. God will never be satisfied with your outer man, no matter how polished it is. He wants his son.
The goal isn't to fix me, it's to get me out of the way.
Exactly. Stop trying to be good enough. You can't be. And the gospel, according to Nee, is that you don't have to be.
This brings us to the final thought I want to leave everyone with. The source talks about being poor in spirit.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
And it defined that as spiritual bankruptcy. In the financial world, bankruptcy is failure. It's the end.
But in the kingdom economy, bankruptcy is the winning lottery ticket.
Explain that twist.
As long as you think you have a few assets left, I can handle this part, or I just need a little boost, you're still operating in your own strength.
But when you declare chapter 11,
When you say, I have absolutely nothing, I am spiritually bankrupt, that is the moment God's resources open up to you. You trade your dead for his assets.
the great exchange.
It is. The kingdom belongs to the poor in spirit, because they're the only ones desperate enough to let God be everything.
That is a powerful place to land. So for anyone listening today, if you're feeling that exhaustion, that walking tomb feeling,
Don't fight it. Don't try to fix it by doing more. Let the exhaustion do its work. Let it bring you to the end of yourself.
because it's right there at the absolute end of you that the real life begins.
And that is a deep dive worth taking.
Absolutely. This has given me a lot to think about. Thanks for guiding us through this.
My pleasure. It's a daily reckoning for me too.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.